Under 2 seconds. That is roughly how long it actually takes a startled guinea pig to twist hard enough in an unsteady grip to fall a genuinely dangerous distance, and it is very often a child holding it, standing at exactly the wrong moment when that happens. I am Rue. I see small pets and a guinea pig brought home specifically as a family pet, chosen partly because it seems gentle and genuinely easy for children to handle, ends up in my exam room after a handling-related injury more often than almost any other single cause I see in young, otherwise perfectly healthy animals. Here is the actual mechanism behind why this happens so consistently and so often across so many otherwise careful, loving families. A guinea pig is a prey animal with a body built for staying low and close to the ground, not for being lifted well above it. Its instinctive response to feeling unstable or insecure in a grip is to twist, kick, or lunge suddenly in an attempt to escape back down to solid ground, and that response fires automatically regardless of how gentle or well-meaning the person holding it actually is. A child's hands are also simply smaller and less experienced at reading that early warning signaling than an adult's tend to be, and a child is naturally more likely to be standing, walking, or sitting somewhere elevated like a couch or a bed while holding a guinea pig, which turns a startled wriggle from a minor scare into a genuine fall risk in a way it would never quite be at ground level in the first place. None of this is about children being careless. Most of the incidents I actually see involve a genuinely gentle, well-meaning child doing exactly what feels natural in the moment, simply without knowing the small handful of specific adjustments that make the real difference between an ordinary handling session and one that ends with a trip to my clinic. Here is where that specific risk actually shows up in real households, worked through category by category. Number 1, the simple act of holding while standing up. Any handling done while standing rather than sitting on the floor turns a sudden wriggle into a real fall risk, since the guinea pig now has real distance to fall rather than a few inches. Sitting cross-legged on the floor removes almost the entire risk this list is built around at no cost beyond a slightly less convenient posture. Number 2, one-handed carrying overall. Carrying a guinea pig with a single hand, however gently, does not provide enough support for its back half, and an unsupported hindquarter is exactly what triggers the instinctive twisting response described in the mechanism above. 2 hands, one under the chest and front legs and one supporting the rear, is the standard safe hold for a reason. Number 3, lifting straight up directly from above. Reaching down and lifting a guinea pig straight up from directly overhead, the way a person might lift a cat, mimics the exact silhouette and motion of an aerial predator, which triggers a stronger fear response than most owners expect from what feels like a completely gentle motion to them. Number 4, giving no warning at all before contact. Picking a guinea pig up without a brief verbal cue or a gentle hand approach first startles it more than a slower, telegraphed approach does. A guinea pig that sees and hears a hand coming has a moment to brace and settle rather than being caught by surprise. Number 5, squeezing when startled. A child's instinctive reaction to a guinea pig suddenly wriggling is very often to grip tighter rather than to calmly lower it back down, which understandably feels protective in the moment but actually increases the animal's panic and the intensity of its struggling in response. Number 6, carrying across a room rather than moving with it. Walking any real distance while holding a guinea pig rather than staying in one spot or sitting down first extends the window of time something could go wrong and adds movement and changing sight lines that can unsettle even a normally calm, well-handled guinea pig. Number 7, multiple children passing one guinea pig around. Handing a guinea pig from one child directly to another, especially in an excited or celebratory setting like a birthday visit from friends, multiplies both the handling risk and the animal's overall stress level well beyond what any single hold on its own would cause. Number 8, holding near other pets. A guinea pig held in the same room as a Niger unfamiliar dog, or a curious cat, even one considered generally gentle, carries a real added fear and injury risk that has nothing to do with handling technique itself and everything to do with a genuine predator scent and presence being close by. Number 9, ignoring early stress signals. Teeth chattering, a rigid, stiffened posture, or repeated attempts to pull away are all clear signals a guinea pig wants to be put down. And continuing to hold it past those signals, even gently, is one of the most common ways an eventually escalating struggle begins. Number 10, holding for too long overall. Even a genuinely calm, well-socialized guinea pig has a limited, comfortable handling window before its own tolerance starts to wear thin. Keeping sessions to a reasonable length and reading the animal's own comfort rather than a clock is a habit worth teaching from the very first day. Number 11, letting a young child hold a guinea pig completely unsupervised. Direct adult supervision during any handling session, particularly with a young child, catches an unsafe hold or a rising stress signal before it becomes an actual incident, rather than only finding out afterward that something went wrong. Number 12, skipping a proper introduction period. A brand new guinea pig, still adjusting to an unfamiliar home, has far less tolerance for handling than one that has had time to settle in first. waiting several days before any real handling begins, as covered in an earlier video on this channel, meaningfully lowers the risk covered throughout this entire list. Number 13. Restraining a guinea pig on its back. Turning a guinea pig onto its back, sometimes done out of curiosity or to check its underside, triggers a genuine and severe stress response in most guinea pigs, since that position leaves it completely unable to right itself or flee, both core instincts for a prey animal. Number 14. Carrying without a towel or blanket for a nervous individual. A particularly nervous or newly acquired guinea pig can often be handled more securely and calmly, wrapped gently in a soft towel during an early handling session, giving it a sense of enclosure and security while a child or new owner builds handling confidence. Number 15. Letting a guinea pig near a lap edge or table edge. Sitting on a couch or at a table with a guinea pig held loosely near the edge creates a real fall risk the moment attention shifts elsewhere, even briefly. So keeping well away from any edge during a handling session removes that risk entirely. Number 16. Forcing interaction with a guinea pig that is hiding. Reaching into a hide box to pull out a guinea pig that has deliberately retreated, there removes its one reliable escape option and can meaningfully damage trust built up over weeks, beyond the immediate handling risk itself. Number 17. Not washing hands before and after handling. This is a lower stakes item than most on this list, but it matters for genuine hygiene reasons on both sides, protecting the guinea pig from anything on a child's hands and protecting the child from anything picked up during normal contact with the animal. Number 18. Mistaking stillness for calm in an actually frozen, frightened animal. A guinea pig that goes completely rigid and motionless during handling is not necessarily calm. It is very often frozen in fear, a genuine prey animal survival response, and mistaking that stillness for contentment is one of the more commonly missed signals on this entire list. Number 19. The actual cost of a handling-related injury. A fall or a hard twist during handling can result in a fracture or a soft tissue injury requiring an emergency vet visit, which for most households runs into a genuine, unplanned expense on top of the distress of the incident itself, making prevention meaningfully cheaper than treatment in every real sense. Number 20. Skipping a short family handling lesson before the guinea pig ever comes home. A brief, deliberate practice session, even using a stuffed animal of similar size beforehand, to physically walk a child through the correct two-handed hold and the sitting on the floor rule, meaningfully reduces the risk of that very first real handling attempt going wrong. Number 21. Assuming an older, more experienced child needs no reminder. Even a child who has handled guinea pigs safely for months can slip into a bad habit, particularly during an exciting moment like showing
a guinea pig to a visiting friend. So an occasional gentle reminder of the basic rules remains worthwhile well past the first few weeks. Number 22. Letting excitement override the guinea pig's own signals. The most common thread across nearly every incident I actually see is not cruelty or carelessness in any real sense. It is simple excitement, a child genuinely delighted to be holding a pet, moving a little too fast or holding a little too tight without meaning any harm at all. Number 23. The difference between a startle and genuine aggression. A guinea pig that nips during a stressful handling moment is almost always reacting out of fear rather than genuine aggression, and reacting to that nip with a raised voice or a sudden movement only escalates the exact fear response causing it in the first place. A calm, immediate return to the ground diffuses the moment far more effectively than any correction would. Number 24. Choosing the right first handling moment of the day. Handling a guinea pig immediately after it has just woken from a deep rest, or right in the middle of active exploring and foraging time, tends to go less smoothly than choosing a calmer window when the animal is already alert but settled. Learning your own guinea pig's natural rhythm over the first couple of weeks helps every family member pick better moments almost without thinking about it. Number 25. Letting a guinea pig set the pace of its own exit. Ending a handling session by gently lowering the guinea pig back into its enclosure and letting it step off in its own time, rather than dropping it the last few inches, keeps that final moment of every session calm rather than abrupt, and it is one of the easiest habits on this entire list to build correctly from the very first day. Here's what you can actually do this week to make handling safer in your own home. Sit on the floor for every handling session for at least the next month, regardless of how confident everyone already feels, until the two-handed hold and the calm approach become genuinely automatic rather than something anyone has to consciously think through. Practice the correct two-handed hold yourself first, with one hand under the chest and front legs and one supporting the rear, and then walk each child in the household through it directly, hands-on rather than simply explaining it verbally. Agree on a simple, memorable signal for teeth chattering or a stiff, frozen posture, something as simple as "put down now gently,"
So every child in the household knows exactly what to watch for and exactly what to do the moment they see it. Set a clear house rule about supervision for any child under a certain age you feel is appropriate for your own household, and stick to it consistently even once everyone seems perfectly comfortable and confident around the animal. Walk through the entire enclosure area with your child and identify every genuine edge risk together: the couch, the bed, the kitchen table. So everyone in the household shares the same clear mental map of exactly where handling should never happen without sitting fully on the floor first. Talk openly as a family about what to do the very moment a guinea pig is dropped or falls, however unlikely that feels after building these habits. A calm, rehearsed plan, checking the animal gently, keeping it warm and quiet, and calling the vet immediately if anything at all looks off, removes panic from an already stressful moment and gets help moving faster if it is ever genuinely needed. I do want to mention something briefly the way I would across my own exam table. I've put together a simple family handling guide with printable steps and a short practice checklist, genuinely aimed at children old enough to read it themselves. It is linked below if that would help your own household get started safely. None of this is meant to suggest guinea pigs are somehow unsuitable pets for a family with children, because with the right early habits in place, they genuinely are wonderful, patient, forgiving family pets for most households. It simply means building the right handling habits deliberately from day one, rather than assuming a naturally gentle-seeming animal makes careful technique optional. It is also worth saying plainly that most families who bring a guinea pig home get this right week after week without ever having an incident at all. The households I see in my exam room after a handling injury are rarely careless ones. They are ordinary, loving families who simply never had anyone walk them through the specific handful of habits that make the biggest actual difference, which is exactly the gap this list is trying to close before it becomes a problem in your own home too. The families who go years without a single handling incident are almost never the ones with the calmest possible guinea pig, since temperament varies a fair amount from one individual animal to the next regardless of anything a family does. They are the families who built the sitting on the floor rule and the two-handed hold into an unthinking daily habit early on, the same way buckling a seatbelt eventually stops feeling like a conscious decision at all. That 2-second window from the opening is real, and it happens fast enough that no amount of quick reflexes reliably catches it, once a guinea pig is already unsteady in an unsafe hold well above the ground. The entire point of this list is removing that moment from ever happening in the first place, rather than hoping to react well enough once it already has. None of this replaces your own vet, particularly if an injury has already happened, however minor it might currently seem. What 10 minutes of deliberate practice gives you instead is the chance to prevent that visit altogether, rather than needing one later to deal with something that could have been avoided from the very start. So tonight, before the next handling session in your own home, sit down on the floor with whoever handles your guinea pig most in the household, and walk through the two-handed hold together, out loud, one more time. It costs 10 minutes, and it is very often the single highest value 10 minutes you spend on keeping both your guinea pig and your family's youngest member genuinely safe together. If your children are old enough, let them teach the hold back to you once you have shown it to them, rather than simply watching them copy it once and assuming it has stuck. Explaining something back out loud in their own words tends to reveal exactly which part of the technique still feels unclear far more reliably than a single quiet demonstration ever does. And it gives you one more genuine chance to correct a small habit before it ever becomes a real one worth worrying about.